claim descent from Abraham, and then all the others, how do we put it, opt on to that, tack on to that. They're likewise descended from Abraham, but the focus, and when I look at this is all to be found in case you're interested to read it in the original presentation, and the original presentation is in what book in the Hebrew Bible?
Book of the Hebrew Bible, the Holy Bible.
Well, the Holy Bible is a later book,
It's the Old Testament.
comprising two books, New Testament and Old Testament, but the Hebrew Bible only comprises the Old Testament. So, what book of the Hebrew Bible are these stories to be found in?
Hebrews.
No, that's a New Testament book. That's nothing to do with the Old Testament. What book are these stories of? You see, we're starting from scratch here.
Is it Genesis?
Huh?
Genesis?
Yeah, Genesis. Genesis. First book of the Hebrew Bible is Genesis. Turned out to be the first book of the Christian Bible too. But first book of the Hebrew Bible is Genesis. That's where the stories about Abraham are told. All the stories are told in Abraham. Huh?
No, I'm just singing a song.
Hey, I'm going to have a tough time singing over you. You're going to have to sing those songs to yourself because I'm going to be able to think of them pretty soon. You know? You and I are going to be doing a duet. In any case, so that's where Abraham becomes a heroic character in that first time in history that he appears and that we know him as an heroic character. And that would be written, the legends may go back, I think, to some that say it goes back to the 12th, 13th century BC. I mean, Abraham, if he functioned in the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th century BC. No one is sure. Anywhere from the 24th to the 16th century BC. That's supposed to picture is, but the stories may come down from there in oral form, but written form, they probably weren't getting into writing until around the 8th century BC. There's probably 1,000 years of oral history before that, before they started even getting written. So you can say the book of Genesis is put in its final form, according to most people, during the Babylonian captivity in the 500 BC period. But the stories go back older than that, and I would say, because the prophets who are writing in the 8th and 7th century BC in the Hebrew Bible know the story of Abraham, so therefore the story is older than that in its earliest form. Whether that was its written form, you follow me, is something else again. So Abraham becomes a significant character, you know, in writing around 9th century BC in the Palestine area. Now, when you look at the Bible story carefully, there's some old bits in there, and one even looks like it's an old stele that the writer has seen. You know, we have archaeological data that, you know, appears in our own time. We dig something up. We dig something up, and we, you know, and then we get information from it. They could do that in their time too, but this is more ancient than they are. And there's one, looks like an inscription on a stele. What is a stele? Yeah, a stone pillar of some kind in which someone wrote some commemorative material on to commemorate either a famous act, a military victory, some claim for triumph or important, like maybe, for instance, if you go down to Virginia, you'll see, I think, a stone in the Chancellorsville, and it'll have a big, you know, there'll be a big description of the Battle of Chancellorsville on it or something like that. That would be a modern stele. I hear that in the field in Pennsylvania where that airliner crashed. I read in the paper this morning they're going to erect a huge memorial, and there'll, I'm sure, be an inscription there commemorating what occurred at that particular place. So we even have modern steles, but the ancients had steles. And this sounds like something taken off a stele. It said Abram the Hebrew, it was called Abram, not Abraham at that time in the biblical narrative. He later changed his name to Abraham when God gives him some favor That's all in the biblical story of Genesis. You have to read that yourself. I can't do that for you if you're interested. And I think you should read it because it's a you know, when you're looking at data, it's a control data. So, in any case, Abraham the Hebrew did such and such, fought some kings in this area, rescued his cousin Lot, and chased and named several weird sounding kings, so it sounds authentic, them as far as here, there, and everywhere else, and recovered the captives or something like that. And that's the first, I think, real mention of Abraham the Hebrew. And I think that's about all the Hebrews knew about Abraham the Hebrew. And all the other stories they then later, not invented, but developed out of that stele and maybe oral and material. So I don't know how much of the Abraham material is authentic or not authentic, or how much is owed to storytellers. But as the material of Abraham develops in the book of Genesis, and we do that in Old Testament class, then we get his genealogical aspects that the Hebrew chronicler is very interested in, particularly what we call the priest writer. And we get several different genealogies coming down from him, but primarily we get the stories of his marrying Sarah supposedly when she's 90 years old or 99 years old. And the story is that Sarah laughs when the angel comes and tells her that she's going to have a child. She says, I, at this time, when I've already passed childbearing, am going to have a child, ha, 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 ha. And then the angel said, why did you laugh? And Sarah says, I did not laugh, blah, 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 blah. And the angel says, yeah, you did laugh. Well, it turns out that the child, this is all a play on the child's name, because the child is called Yitzhak. He laughs. And it's all a story about laughing to basically the storyteller is explaining Isaac, as you call him, or Yitzhak, or what Yitzhak's, in Arabic I think it's Ishaq, what Isaac's name is and why it means laughter. Then there's another story about how Isaac is playing, and because Sarah earlier couldn't bear, Abraham, like all men, are presented in the Bible as just sex maniacs who can't control their sexual urges, and they'll, so-called, as the Bible puts it, going on to any woman who's hanging around that's presented to them. That's the language they use. He went in unto her, and we're supposed to understand what that all means. But you do have an idea, seeing you've got porn videos all over the TV nowadays, what that means. So I don't have to elucidate that anymore. But the Bible's not half as pornographic as modern TV, but it's a bit pornographic in places. In any event, they're not very shy about sexual